But yeah, I mean, we got a special guest. Definitely got a really great special guest for y'all. I usually stick to, stay in my lane and usually be talking about, one specific topic. Y'all know what it is. We don't really gotta say it because, I'm just playing. But the brother's legit. I think I feel like the brother's legit. I ain't vouching for no grown man. We talked. We discussed a lot of things on the phone and through email, and my man got it. My man knows what he's talking about as far as I'm concerned. He's got some successes under his belt, obviously. Through, and there he is. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna welcome to the show, Brother Kris L. Brother, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? Peace.
I'm well. Peace to the gods, brother. Peace to the gods. I'm honored, man. I'm honored.
Pleasure and the honor is all mine, man. Thanks for coming and agreeing to come on the show and talk about, some of your experience, some of the things that you have been able to accomplish, and definitely talk about yourself and really just put yourself out there as far as being opposed. So I definitely want to say thank you for accepting the offer, and definitely appreciate you being a part of the foundation.
Respect.
So,
respect, like I said. Yeah.
So, I guess let's get into it. I mean, I'm going to tell y'all, YouTube had a show, and the brother called in to the show that Yusuf did, and I ended up, the brother said some stuff that really piqued my interest, and I ended up calling him, and we discussed some stuff, exchanged some emails and stuff, and from where I'm standing, his brother's legit, and he definitely has, a lot of things to share, but we're going to keep it, we decided that we're going to keep it dealing with the passport issue, we got this new ID Act that's in effect, at least the federal, and I say we, connotatively, but there's different things that are happening and moving, and there's different information that, and just in my opinion, needs to be brought to the attention of, people, with regards to that, how about, let's just start with, I don't know, you can just introduce yourself, who you are, how you got to where you are, where you're at with your knowledge, and I guess just the floor is yours, man.
Respect. As I say, it's an honor to be on here. I pay homage to my ancestors and, my grandmother who told me to not be afraid of your intelligence and learn how to read and learn how to read good. So, when I ran into the information with Yusuf, hearing him say that most people can read, but most people don't know how to read, that really resonated with me. I'd like to drop a few quotes that at the end of the day really tie in. It may sound like it doesn't, but it does. One comes from the World Federation for Mental Health. World Federation for Mental Health. Quote, "The family is now one of the major obstacles to improve mental health and hence should be weakened." Okay, This is like 1949. You can look that up on their website. Another quote, John D. Rockefeller. "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." Edward R. Murrow. "A nation of sheep will have a government of wolves." So my knowledge in it has been through trial and error of a lot of the research that is floating around on the internet. And like Yusuf said, you got to find the juice when you go to the law library. So on that journey, I was, looking to see what path to take in my specific situation, and what full circle I've learned and proven throughout the 6 years of my journey is that everything really is contract, and the maxim of law that stands out for me is, not verbatim paraphrasing, that a thing is unbound by which it is bound. So everything that everyone is going through, it's kind of like, what is the remedy? People look into the Constitution. People look at the nationality. People say it's the birth certificate. It's all kind of this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, everything that you're speaking about, we're talking about cation, was submitted with certain information to get a certain benefit. So what we really talking about at the end of the day is the technology, and you can find this on the TSA website. Do your own diligence there. This is what we call card-based enforcement, and that's tying to what for the most part, I don't recall the majority of states. I know Texas is on board. This is, I'm hailing from the Republic of Texas, H-Town, but Texas has passed it for sure. I know California is dealing with it. And we're talking about when I went to surrender my driver's license to the DMV, I noticed that now you either have to have a driver's license or a state ID. You can't do both. And looking at the Real ID, so are now issuing those licenses with that technology, of the Real ID. The implications are where we're talking about commercial travel and airfare and, federal, getting into federal buildings and such. So what we're discussing is a card that you're going to be using to identify yourself that's going to open the door for you as the U.S. citizen, the 14th Amendment citizen, by way of those adhesion contracts that you willingly contract with the government to do, called driving or whatever you want to debate with the officers. I'm traveling. No, according to them, you're driving. If you hand them a driver's license, you're driving. I don't care what you say. So what got me really deep into the knowledge was I was traveling in my private conveyance, first day of school, driving my son off school, and officer constable pulls me over for speeding. I was doing a 27 in a 20. I was doing 27 in a, what he said. So what I remember calling my wife, hey, let my uncle know that I'm about to get locked up. Well, I started seeing all of the trends, not my first time in a rodeo, and I'm seeing the tow trucks, 6 other sergeants showed up, of constable, sheriff showed up to figure out what to do with me, and I'm like, man, it's serious. Then I started to see tow trucks pull off, and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I mean, I guess somebody yielded or something. They have a code they abide by too. But then all of them left. And then I started seeing other constables that came for backup leave, and one sergeant stayed with the one that pulled me over. And he said to me, when he came back to the unit, to the private conveyance, I could take you to jail right now. And I'm thinking to myself, what you mean you could take me to jail right now? We're talking about my person at the time had 19 warrants and 32 citations. So all of them traffic related, no seatbelt, speeding, whatever. So he issues the citation and says, go and take care of that license then. So that really intrigued me as to why did I just walk away? This wasn't just, I prayed and a miracle happened. No, man, that didn't take place. Something was not in place for him to move on me. He could see a thing, but he couldn't make a move on me. Why? So that's what took me on my journey. And what I've come to realize is that the reason why he couldn't is because the driver's license was invalid. It was suspended. Then 7 years of me not renewing the license, it became invalid. So at the time, I had a state ID. Now, had I showed him the state ID, they would have got me. Had I showed him a Social Security card, gave him that number, they would have got me. But I gave him a number for a specific contract that was invalid. So from there, I'm an entrepreneur. I work for myself in the film industry here, and I'm not using my social to open up an account. I know this that much at least. And as I try to identify myself with these picture ID that are expired, apparently that's not me, okay, because the expiration date on it. So where the state passport came in, there's not really a state passport. It's still, U.S. passport. It looks just like the one that you would get that has a social, but we're talking about substance. Do not detain, listen, what people talking about. I wanted to see for myself, and there goes the law of attraction, because you're going to attract the opportunity for the information if it's that pertinent. So, if you're going to traverse in this area, number one, on the private, it's be ready to stand on your circle and square when it comes to the knowledge. Be able to, these things, it's not really going to work with these officers. You can yell all day if you want. At the end of the day, I remember hearing an attorney say, the thing that people talk about when it comes to tax and income tax and it being unconstitutional is true. However, what most people are not identifying is that the 14th Amendment comes before the 16th Amendment. So that contract that you have within that 14th Amendment status, that is your nexus. So anything thereafter is irrelevant of what shouldn't be done, what's unconstitutional, because you went into a contract to where those rights have been exchanged for privileges now. So when you go to these places, these agencies, and present this, if you successfully receive the passport without the social, you can use this as a form of identification for whatever. Whatever you would use the driver's license or the state ID for, you can use this passport in the same capacity. There is layers, like Jay-Z says, levels to this shit. It's layers to the game to where you really got to go into the study of it to know that there's a difference between a United States citizen and a non-citizen national, and what implications come with being a U.S. citizen and transferring from that status to a non-citizen national. That's just for a legal status. We're not talking nationality and all of this. We're talking about the thing that makes, if you go on the back of the form for the actual, the DS-11. Go to the DS-11 and read the form. That's what I did. I saw where I knew already where I stood within the law and know that the U.S. citizen doesn't apply to me. If you're going to just use the social to verify debts with the U.S. Treasury, which doesn't exist, it's only existing in name only, that's a drop for you. That happened in 1921. Research, do your diligence. But when you know that that exists and you giving them the social, which by law you really don't have to give them, even if they require it. This is Title 42, United States Code. Go look it up. Where now you put yourself in position to carry whatever you have accumulated in your domestic capacity as the so-called straw man into wherever you go in whatever country, whatever landmass. It's just going to follow you. this thing called the silver bullet to your rights, okay, that's a great name for it. That's why I picked that one quote, a nation of sheep will have a government of wolves. Because when you move about it, they look at you as a sheep. That's why when you go up there to stand up at your rights, their agents want to have these attitudes with you. I was in Department of Homeland Security with their agents creeping up on me as I'm standing on I'm not giving you my social. What are you talking about? I'm the executor of my estate. Have you used, so you've not been issued a social? No, I didn't say that. I said I'm the executor of my estate. Well, we're going to need to get you to put that in writing, sir. Well, that's fine because I'm used to writing affidavits. So a process that should have been about 72 hours, 48 hours, because I did the expedient one, the expedited process. And it took me 3 months going back and forth with the State Department about what it appears to for me to be a U.S. citizen and subject to its jurisdiction. You have to be both. You're not just born in the United States. You have to be subject to its jurisdiction, and there's a particular nexus for you to be in that jurisdiction. They don't ask you. They just make it easy for you. So when I went about it, I saw that it is a silver bullet. It's like my descriptive of it being a filmmaker is like Star Trek. Every time they was about to be attacked, I thought they were about to be attacked, they put up the shields. And there was a lot of episodes I saw those shields were broken, okay, and they got damaged. That happened to me. But it's due to the law of attraction of me wanting to see what the hell is up with this mythical do not detain list. And my rights were infringed by 2 HPD officers that had the want for authority. And that is a lawful term. I have no nexus because, see, this is what pushed me to the law library with it, because when we went, I'm traveling with 2 other witnesses, and the constable pulls me over. I saw him coming because the registration expired. Handed him my passport, my first opportunity with witnesses, because this was the second time. He came back to the car and said, "Hey, man, I don't know what this is about. I just want to get back to my family. This is my Friday, so you drive safely." Now, mind you, this is still with my person because I have yet to get to the point to offset it. This is my person with 19 warrants and 32 citations. How did he let me go again? I have 2 witnesses on that. I get pulled over again, but this time it's HPD. No, y'all didn't use my turn signal to turn left. And came and got me. So, driver's license registration, I'm not a member, I'm not a part of the municipality. But you're driving a motor vehicle. I am not driving, I'm traveling. But do you need to identify me? Yeah, I need something to identify you. Here goes my U.S. passport. First of all, he's unfamiliar with the card. That's a new technology, apparently, that most people are not, agency members are not used to. So in him coming back to the car, I
said you can get a passport, or you can get a passport card right now, or you can get both. You can get a passport and the passport card. Right.
And I did both.
Yeah.
I did both. So, but what I handed this particular officer was the card. That's usually, I don't use the passport book. I just carry the card around for identification purposes. It's a valid government issued ID. So what he came back to the car with was, I asked him for the other officer's name, because if it was on the citation, he said, "I don't know, you figure it out, smart guy," and walks off. Then I get pulled over, and this is where it's like that's the physical example of shields up. You see, because they can't take me. Why? Still, I don't know really why. Okay, the license is invalid. Why? I still don't know why. Well, the night that my rights were infringed upon for traveling, while so-called black, if you will, Gomer Powell and Andy Griffith pull up on me, and one of them got out of the vehicle to stop me from being able to move. I'm in the private driveway. I was actually parking in the driveway, which is interesting. Let's we talk about words, and these are things I'm talking about. Do your diligence, because I digress, but it's a point in the matter of we live in a society, or we exist in a society that park on the driveway and drive on the parkway. Like, that's some Jordan Maxwell that I like. What? Like, man, that's just deep, because they use your words to twist your mind. And words that you think have a certain particular meaning don't. Just like U.S. citizen and non-citizen national. But getting back to the point of what happened that allowed me to see what it was that had all of these particular agents confused and like staying their distance from me. When the officer scanned the passport card in their unit, he came back and he said nothing. And the other, his buddy, his partner, was like, what? And he was like, nothing. He was like, scan it again. He said, I did. He said, do it one more time. And then proceeded to ask me, and I have my affidavit that's actually on public record if you want to look that up of the situation. But what he said to me was, what kind of games you playing? Because I looked into the penal code. When they scan your ID once, that is it. Your information pops up. They scanned my passport 3 times. Nothing came back. I'm on the line with 911 calling, asking for the sergeant. Sergeant shows up. He says the U.S. passport card could be a forgery. Take me to jail. I'm in the unit. Now they call the DA. The DA say, go ahead on the taker. My license still invalid. I don't even have it. Now, at this point, I had not surrendered it yet. It's not on public record that I surrendered it. So what took place as I'm in the unit, no drugs, no weapon, I looked at the screen. It was blank, just black, nothing. As my wife, my consort, comes out with the passport book to show them, no, he's a non-citizen national, domiciled here, okay? And he says, no, you got 32 tickets and 19 warrants. And it's like as magic, I found how what they look at started to populate on the screen. The times that they did it when I was in my private conveyance, the reason why he was so confused is because nothing came back. And because nothing came back, I must be, I guess, an illegal alien or something. Because Houston is known as a sanctuary city. However, it will hold them off like the shields of the USS Starship Enterprise. But they can penetrate for the want of authority. And in the want of authority, and this is speaking from common law, not color law, this is speaking from common law. And you can go into your American jurisprudence, secundum, cool, and actually look it up. Say it again, I'm sorry.
Corpus juris secundum.
Yes, thank you. And it's in there where you'll see the want of authority will lead to a false arrest and malicious prosecution through the want of authority. These books didn't come off of the shelves at Thurgood Marshall. I had to give up collateral, the ID, to be able to see these books because you don't have a lot of them. They're expensive. This is what I was told. But when I got them and as I opened them, I was blowing dust off of them. Now, here is one of the best law schools in the nation that have books that deal with the protection of your rights and your remedies within. And their students don't learn from that book. The ones that pass by me, a young lady studying passed by me as I'm studying, looking, how can I find my remedy? She asked me if I was studying for my PhD. Like, whatever they're learning, when Yusuf would say they learn procedure of law. Exactly. Because when I go in talking on this level and I was looking for my rights to be, have an attorney stand up for my rights, I went to a sister, my elder. They scanned my license so they could look up the situation, because if I just got out of jail and they held me for 33 hours, then surely that is in the system. We will look it up. Scan my U.S. passport. Nothing comes back. So at that point, I'm being accused as if I'm lying, like I'm wasting her time. And I felt a certain way about that. But it was then that it dawned on me that, oh, in this process, can't nobody really help you but you unless you have a certain dollar amount flowing through your accounts to be able to afford or even find an attorney that's competent in that particular discipline of law. So I took it upon myself to do my own diligence and study to show myself approved. The passport can hold a police officer back that you get with the SSN. I mean, without the SSN. It can also hold back any other agents from the federal jurisdiction. Because, see, we got to realize that is covered under the Federal Sovereign Immunities Act. The Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, not federal, foreign. Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act is where you get to look at what a U.S. national is talking about. Find out where you fit in. What type of, what is your classification? What is your official capacity? And if your official capacity is in the jurisdiction of the 14th Amendment citizen, then there's 60 million statutes that they are, and 100,000 of them or so, they amend every year. So my jurisprudence not only derived from the internet, it also derived from when I went to a website like TSA. Hey, let me plug in this email that I use for this type of thing so I can get regular updates. That's what y'all offer. Every agency that pertains to how I now move in commerce, I have, if they have it available, the email that'll allow me to see when they do new things. Yes, they're not going to tell you everything. But they can't do anything outside of their delegated authority. And despite of the Act of 1871 and then 1933 and the Treasury going away, despite of all of these things, the nexus to that world where people getting this money, when there is no money, money is gold and silver coin, lawful money. This ties to all of that. So when you cut the nexus from each contract that you have with them, the marriage license, this fishing license, these things you're it's kind of like, here goes the etymology of word, where you're lying to use your senses. Every sense and thing that you could survive with, they have certificated, and then you go to them to register with a license to lie, to use your senses. So why not take the instruction of those that set up the system, John D. Rockefeller? I want control, paraphrasing, of a nation's currency. I care a lot not who makes their laws. I can look up on Google United States means or who owns the United States, and it'll say international bankers and the aristocracy of Europe and Britain. That's what it says. So if you know the SSN ties you to a 14th Amendment statute that where the national debt shall not be questioned, and for my tax protesters, you're a 14th Amendment citizen. That's why they don't care about your income tax and you not being, it's not, the Constitution ain't even enacted like it's supposed to be, not anymore, especially not after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
So,
real ID is tied to that. Mm-hmm.
My bad. So what do you feel comfortable sharing with regards to, the substance of the process that you went through to obtain, the passport without the social? Like, what? So did you tell them? Just whatever you're comfortable with sharing with the audience, as far as like, the process that you went through, and if you can elaborate more on what you were saying about the back of the application for the passport. Mm-hmm. And I understand it's a public forum. I want to remind you that it's a public forum, and no one is to construe this as legal advice or anything like that. But at the same time, it's just like, whatever you're comfortable with, I think would be. And then, everyone is up to you to do your due diligence, do your study, and figure out if this is something that's for you. But, like I said, whatever you're comfortable as far as the steps that you took and, like, specifically how you got there, and then, I guess, whatever you're comfortable saying with, like, the application, as far as, like, how you did the application to get the passport. Just like I said, whatever you're comfortable with, because this is a public forum.
And I did a little bit. I think I guess I was just that slick with it. It depends. Everybody's walk towards getting their state passport or a passport without the SSN. I say state passport because, again, that's dropped. There's something that's going on with the state that took place in legal format with me being the executor of my estate. So when I look at, I'm looking at the form right now. The part that you have to stop, continue to page 2, because you have to fill it out in front of one of their agents. I declare under penalty of perjury all of the following. 1, I am a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States, and it goes on. However, there's your clue right there. You get it in 2 ways. There's your red and your blue pill. So you got to realize that if I can get it in one of 2 ways, and we're saying without the social, and I got it as a non-citizen national, then I'm not giving them a social. Guess what? They tell you in box number 5 on here, if you've never been issued a social, that goes to the back of the form. If you've never been issued a social, put zeros in it. Now, the other aspect is your zip code. Watch how you put your zip code in there. They ask you if it's a mailing address or if it's, look up what RFD is. That's rural field delivery. Know that the zip code is an instrumentation of the United States Postal Service, not the post office, the United States Postal Service. Thus, you using the zip code, that's your nexus to the United States as well. They ask you if your parents are U.S. citizens. Of course, you're not going to tell them that they are, because if they are, then that will make you that. Well,
And I just want real quick, just want to say, man, if y'all paying attention to what he's saying, you can hear by the way he's speaking, he understands, at least on a very obviously competent level, distinction between public and private, because he said he distinguished between United States Postal Service and the United States Post Office, because these are two different things. I know that if you receive mail at your residence, you got a mailbox on your home or your domicile, and you allow a federal employee to walk onto your property and to deliver mail, then that is a quasi-admission that this is where the debtor does business and accepts mail and service process. That's a minimum contact there. That's why most people either have a box, a UPS box or something like that, but the hardcore private people, they use general delivery, and that's at the post office. Because how it's supposed to be is that they don't bring you your mail. Bringing you your mail is a service. Allowing the post at the post office, you got to go get it within 30 days. You got to fill out this card, and they're going to say, you can only do this for 30 days. If you read the card, it says they will only hold the mail for general delivery for 30 days. And that's the ultimate, private. But I just wanted to point that out, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no. We building, baby. We building.
Yeah, exactly. Because y'all know me, man.
It's important because it's freeing. This is so freeing, bro. People will be freed from this, but they have to be. I speak to you people directly. You have to be competent, because if you do this and you there's a trick to it to where you could do it, and because most people have their bank accounts tied to socials. Most people have their jobs tied to socials. So the way that I took is going to be different for everybody, because not everybody's going to be strong enough to be able to say okay to their employer. You might see how much of an asset or a commodity you are to them, because I don't know if you want to be an asset, because an asset could be good or bad depending on its use. You might find out how important you are to your company if you do this. However, the way that I took it by way of the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. What is a U.S. national, and how are you covered by way of this act? From service is by way of official capacity. When you are the executor of your estate, you are in official capacity. If you are moving in way of a trustee, you are in official capacity. What are you when you are administrating your all caps name for your employer?
What capacity?
You're not in official capacity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What capacity are you standing in when you're administering the entity? Telling y'all, right. And y'all know what the foundation, I say it's all about the entity, man. And I'll be on this trust stuff. This trust stuff is not all I know, I'm being active in the demand of do all your business in your new name. So that's where the foundation comes in, and that new name is trust. But it's all about the entity, man. So in what capacity are you administering the entity, whether it's the allegiance, the trust, whatever. Yeah, man.
Let me drop this one. So check this here. Let me drop this. All right. This one here for free. This is jewel. Here's a ruby, baby. All right. How can you do this? And in the county in which, if you're a U.S. citizen using the social, in the county in which you live or reside, say you want to do this passport without the SSN, and you don't have ownership of the name on file with the county. That's for free. You have to have ownership. You have to claim the name before you really move forward with this in a certain capacity based on how you have to respond to them, because what they ask for you to identify yourself with this passport, they're going to say appears that you are a U.S. citizen and subject to its jurisdiction. And that's where you have to rebut them. And that rebuttal must be on legal format with your notary, letterhead from the estate as the executor, wedding signature, surname, given name. You don't have a middle name. That's for free. You don't have a middle name. Go to the IRS and look and see if they identify middle names. You have a given name, your family name. When you get your passport, it's going to say surname, given name. On the application, it says last name, first, middle, because you're getting the passport in that capacity as the all caps, and you are now the surety for that particular transaction.
Exactly, the surety. You in the capacity of a surety, or are you in a higher, more official capacity? That's really what he's getting at, y'all.
So when you put that first name hyphen middle, the given name as what you think is your first and middle name, when you put that first name hyphen middle, last name is your surname or the family name. We're not talking nationality right now. We're talking about how do you stand. Because on their records, you're a citizen. You have to rebut that and get that straight first, and then hit your nationality. They don't care about your nationality when it comes to the passport. That's social. So when we move about without it, that cloud does not exist around us because of our official capacity, and now we are administrating in our status of majority. And we are of age and legally competent to handle such affairs identified by the social compact as free men that is formed. That's Texas Constitution, though. Look up your own state constitution.
Which is supposed to be done at the age of 18, correct?
At the age of 18. What you think the born bar mitzvah is about? Bro, I've learned so much from, it's like, it's amazing how much we don't know.
It's amazing how much we don't know. We're destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Man. But then
I like that.
You look at The Wizard of Oz, and that's where my filmmaking experience comes in at. Like, they give you drop. It's in every movie, especially big, but the bigger the budget, the more drop. Like when Black Panther, you could see it in there when they talk about certain ancient things in there, but I'm not going to go by way of that. I'm not going to go off topic, but it's just, it's in the movies. Like when Yusuf talk about John Wick, it's there. Like, it's phenomenal that, okay, let's just say this. If knowledge is out there and there's a red and blue pill from the famous movie of the trilogy, the franchise, the business, known as The Matrix, it told you the red or blue pill. There is a mirror of polarity and an upside down effect that is created through the scripting of movies, okay? And the dissemination and how it's acted out in real life. Not on the movie screen, in real life. Like Shakespeare said, the world is a stage and everyone has their role, whatever.
Everyone
Paraphrase.
plays their part. The world is but a stage and everyone plays their part. Yep.
Exactly. So when you look at that, it's, okay, how are you playing your part in this particular game of life? Like most of us, we real, especially my melanated people, we real. And they can't, a lot of my people can't, I don't think it's that they can't, they just, the offering of the paradigm. We messing with people's paradigm when we talk on this level because, like a friend told to me, he can't believe that the government is that corrupt. And I said, why? He said, because you can not be a U.S. citizen. That doesn't even make sense. I said, well, it does if you're talking about in a geographical sense.
Or
territorial.
Or, territorial. Territorial
yeah,
jurisdiction.
I mean, what they say, they say the District of Columbia. What is that's the 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. So how could I have been born in the District of Columbia if I'm in Texas?
But it also says in its insular possession. And the insular possession, that's why they fly that flag over all these corporations. That's why they fly that flag over the post office. And I'm gonna tell you, I know this European dude. Just to jump off the side, I don't really know him. I don't really deal with him anymore because he was kind of, you know what I'm saying. But my man was cold with law. He was walking around with a law book, a law dictionary. A man sent some stuff to the post office to the postmaster general, like sent it to the postmaster general and CC'd his local post office. Man, don't you know they dropped that flag like 3 weeks? He said.
Really?
And I wrote by it. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. And then they put it back up after a certain, amount of time. Like I think it was like 21 days or something like that. He said.
Oh, wow.
I told him, I was like, they put it back up because you didn't finish the process. That's why they put it back up. But yeah, it's insular possession. So, like you said, the matrix, zip code, social, that banner, that commercial banner, and the way they put it, that's war. It's supposed to be hanging vertical, so the long way up and down, with the stars.
The civil
at the top.
Civil flag.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
flag,
where it's supposed to be. That's where it's supposed to be. But they flying it off the side, which is an admission or declaration.
Well, I mean,
of war.
but
if you understand,
understand, you're right.
The United States is a commercial entity and service corporation, and commerce is war, man. I mean, is it evil or are they just executing a certain compact or contract?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And am I with it? No. But, I think there's certain distinctions that we can make with regards to how to perceive and how to interpret this whole thing. I think Houston says it the best. Like the Republic is a house that no one lives in, but it's still there. And like you said, there's a up and down side to writing scripts and producing movies. That's correspondence. That's or some could say gender. It's like there's a public and a private side to everything. That's why you can go into the Secretary of State of any state within the so-called union and organize a corporation, and they won't ask to see an ID because they recognize the right to privacy. That's how you can go and you can call the IRS and you can get an EIN for a trust or, a state or whatever and not give them a social. That's how my man got his passport as a non-citizen national without giving the social. And I like how you said, use the word nexus, you know what I'm saying, or matrix, which is another word that could be used, but that was over commercialized with the franchise. I like how you said that, with the franchise known as the commercial matrix that produced intellectual property in the form of motion pictures. Also, it connected the intellectual property in the form of music production, renditions, lyrics, scripts, different all types of stuff, man. And if you go, we can go deeper and deeper. But
I mean, they don't like when you Mitt Romney, corporate personhood, corporations are people.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they crucified. I mean, I don't like to use that word, but man, they snapped on that dude when he said that. Even his own constituents started snap. What do you mean? Talking about he's crazy and he's for the corporations and all types of stuff. Man, they snapped on him. And Mitt Romney would not produce his tax return. They was asking him to produce his tax return when he was running against Obama. When Obama was going up for a second term, They was asking him to produce his tax return, and every time I can say this, the reason why they had to ask him because he's filing a 1041 and it's private, whereas the 1040 is public. They don't have to ask; they can just go get it.
Okay, pause.
And all returns
drop.
nonprofits.
That's major drop. I hope they caught that, but go.
and all returns for nonprofits, like I have a 501c3 designation, their returns are public. Even a privately structured foundation. The return itself is public, but the indenture and all this other stuff is private, even though the beneficiaries are the public. And that's why you got all these elites having foundations, Rockefeller Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Foundation, Carnegie Foundation, then all Zuckerberg Foundation. Everybody got all them elites. You know, what's his name? Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore got a foundation that they created together, and they're co-trustees of, who help. They help sex traffic victims. I heard Ashton Kutcher talking doing a Senate report talking about that there should be more federal assistance for these types of things, and it shouldn't be left up to an actor in his foundation to help sex traffic women and children.
You know what? And that's why I don't understand why those big celebrities. I apologize, because right before we got on the call, actually, while we going through the instrumental, I was looking at CNN and Fox, and where Trump just signed today into legislation the human trafficking bill. So what that's going to translate to is what Ashton Kutcher was asking for. You see what I'm saying? Being that legislation now is going to be law, codified eventually, where now monies can go towards those type of foundations that's in that humanitarian perspective. So
I mean, they got to be careful with the terms used in that law, because I mean there could be claims there's been human trafficking with the use of the birth certificate. So I mean, I would love to see.
I mean,
technology.
That would be interesting. That would be it. But it goes back to that Real ID Act.
Yeah, it does.
Of what's being proposed. It goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I know what you're saying. Absolutely.
So it's like when you got these things on deck and realize there's public and private, where you can go on the FBI website and see when they talk about color of law, codified in the United States Code. So what are we doing? We going to work. Hey, look, guess what? The NFL, the NBA, the MLB, all those things that are fantastic that take our time away from when we at work, guess what? They non-profit.
Non-profits. They don't pay no taxes.
Official.
That's that old Coliseum. If anything that distracts the people, but they're not 501c3. I think it's C4 or C5. 501c3 is education.
I think it's NFL is 501c3B.
Yeah, there you go.
501c3B.
Yep.
And the B stands for barter.
Ain't that something, man? Ain't that something? Yeah.
We perish for lack of knowledge, man.
Y'all not lying. I'm
not saying that to be I'm not saying that to be condescending. I'm just saying like real talk. This you do your diligence on this U.S. passport and really look into it, you'll get certain, like Yusuf was saying when he would go to certain places. Like I've sat and talked with heads of banks of that particular branch for hours, general managers of Jaguar, Land Rover Houston. You see what I'm saying? Extensive conversation about this subject matter. So once we get on the record and correct the presumptions in our official capacity, now here goes that mirror part. In the movie, he took the red pill, he got out the matrix. In our physical life, he gave you drop earlier, Soel gave you drop earlier. My people, in real life, in order to get free, it's the blue pill. It's the form of the blue pill, not the form of the red pill. In order to use the form of the blue pill, you got to have official capacity over your estate. That's why I stand. Operate through trust. We have to be able to learn how to and understand generating, operating, destroying contracts by execution performance in the trust.
I'm telling you. That's why I'm saying the foundation is trust and banking. I'm not trying to, can't nobody tell me nothing. The foundation of this whole thing is trust and banking in that order. If you can't stand in the capacity of a trustee, in the fiduciary capacity of a trustee, you can't stand in any other capacity. You ain't going to stand in no executive capacity. You ain't going to make it. And if you do make it, you got lucky, or someone gave you an ill-ass step-by-step process that you follow to the T. Straight up.
And it's like it took me 6 years to get to this particular level of jurisprudence and financial my financial IQ growing of trial and error, rereading, see where I stand, and in that I see my capacity to where now I can be positioned to be immune from service. But
you move the piece.
Have the capacity to service.
Add the piece.
I love it. I've studied all the greats. And so well up there with it. And
all he's telling y'all, he's saying move the piece. Don't move as the piece.
Right.
It's a commercial. It's commerce. It's a game, man. But it's not a game like, you know, the real cats who know how to play this game. It don't matter what happened. They still friends at the end of it. We fight over Federal Reserve notes. You know what I'm saying? You need to understand how to move the piece and stop moving as the piece. And the piece in this situation is the U.S. citizen. With the non-citizen national in a specific capacity moves the piece. Piece, P-I-E-C-E, not P-E-A-C-E. That's as lame in terms as I can break it down.
And once you get to that capacity, when you have debt collectors that come and allege a certain debt, now we talking about let's go on and use the Fair Debt Practices and, you know, Collections Act. Let's use that real quick. Let's verify it. Produce the note. To the estate, not to the individual. To the executor of the estate. Make your claim. Make them plain on tablets. Give it to a herald that they may run with it.
They can't. They have no standing to address the executive. They have no standing to address the executive.
Beautiful.
Yo, and we can say that, and you'd be like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Yo, they have no standing to address the executive.
That's what the Wizard of Oz was telling you. You had to liquidate the witch before you got it. And then when they got to the Emerald City, they saw that the wizard wasn't nothing.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
You know what I'm saying? They had to get an official. They had to get official capacity first. It's deep.
It's real deep.
We can talk about all kind of ways, and man, look, at the end of the day, everything that you experience in your life more than likely is tied to the SSN, the sin. For my people in Canada, they got y'all. They not even trying to hide it. Yours is a sin, S-I-N. At least they made it a little, you know, like, come on, man. So it takes a level of knowledge. Like it's only not to be Bible because I don't thump the Bible. I just know that there are principles that go through every spiritual book. Period. And it all talks about the Lord. And we have to identify that Lord is synonymous with law, and now we have to go with what law are we talking about. And that law is something that is a spiritual practice. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender.
Oh.
And you have to correspond on 3 levels: the great physical plane, the great spiritual plane, and the great mental plane. I'm off the dome right now. So when you take that as above, so below perspective, you're doing the same thing. Like if you can't, I don't suggest one to fill out this and do this, whatever you find on the internet, and you don't know how to respond to these folks.
They're gonna test you. They're gonna send something back. The IRS is gonna say it's frivolous. The IRS is gonna say this is frivolous, and we're not gonna respond to anything else. That's what IRS is gonna say. What you gonna do?
Okay, you know what?
What you gonna do?
Hey, look, so L, check this out. I'm gonna give this one. This the last one I'm gonna give for free. You said something that I feel comfortable with, and it's something that you could look up on the internet yourself. Start speaking to the people because, you know, you already know. But zero out your account. Tom Schaff. I use a bit of that process in my process. It's a combination. It's not no one thing. It's a combination of things that I did in my process to do it. So there you go.
There you go. We got about, man, it's actually too late. If you fall off, you're done. We got 10 seconds. We're going to go to the stream. We still going to be going, but you can't call in. Sorry. But at this point, if you're still on the line, still can hear me, you can hear us, then you're good. But if you lose connection and stuff, you're going to have to listen to the archive. We're going to go for a couple more minutes. So real quick, I wanted to recap some of the points that I think are significant and that, you know, the audience should pay attention to. Number 1, want of authority. Significant. That was a jewel. He said that was in the corpus juris secundum. That was a jewel. The foreign,
and that's another one you got in Reuters, in the Reuters joint is that's funny because you was on their website. Reuters book shoot, you know my man's book collection. That's the major one when it comes to common law. It's a series of books. I forget his name. I was originally going in for that particular set, but they handed me the Reuters edition of that set, just so. But it wasn't solely just in the corpus juris secundum. So yeah, I just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different. You know, you got a lot of different. You got primary sources and you got secondary sources.
Right.
And you know, corpus juris secundum. Technically, even though you know. What is it? Corpus juris secundum, American jurisprudence. Technically, even though citations from state of the CITES, court cases, and so on and so forth, are still considered secondary sources because they're not produced by official publishers. And then there's a lot of states that publish their statutes and so on and so forth, and the states don't even do the publishing anymore because of LexisNexis, Pacer, Westlaw, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, corpus juris secundum is great. The Reuters version that they got, exactly. American jurisprudence. I mean, I don't think one is better than the other. I think it's just a matter of, you know, whichever one is whichever one you like, because I mean they're pulling from the same. But yeah, corpus juris secundum, American jurisprudence. He said want of authority. Man said the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. Come on, specifically he said classification, and he said official capacity. He also said the word nexus, and he said that the nexus was, you know, the SSN. And then finally, he gave you know, what he said was a primer in the portions that he used out of zero out the account. And that's why every show I say, welcome to thefoundation.com, go to the PDF section, invest in your private education. I say that every time I do a show.
Yes.
every time I do a show. Because if you do enough study, enough due diligence, and enough comparative study between all these different, you won't be able to tell, oh, this is BS, this is BS, this is BS. This one's dope. This one's dope. This one's really dope. I see where this one got this from. I mean, and then from that point, you're looking at this stuff from a whole different position, mentally. And, that's the first pillar is mentalism. So, I just want to say,
in your court work, they always want to know what they want to stipulate the intent.
Yep.
What's your intent?
Criminal actions, in different, civil, specifically criminal actions. They got, they show intent through either by declaration, they bring a witness in there and say so and so said they was going to do this, and then he did it. So that goes to intent, or by your actions. Was it premeditated? Did you bring a weapon? Did you, have an opportunity to fix it, and then you did it? Like, it's all the same, man. But I'm saying, the foundation is trust and banking. If you don't understand trust and banking, do not get yourself in trouble. Incorrect information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Correct information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Hurting is losing your freedom for a specific amount of time, whether it's, some people would say long or some people would say short. Either way, that's a loss, buddy. That's a heavy, heavy loss. It can get you hurt. So yeah, definitely pay attention, man. You got anything else you want to say?
I think you said knowledge rushed. It can get expensive.
Oh yeah, haste creates waste. Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna wrap it up. If you want, we can go to the phone lines. You got anything else you want to say? You got some anonymous people in here. Look at y'all, anonymous.
Brother Dave Chappelle saying, "Ain't watching me."
I must have scared them. They fell off. Or hung up when I don't know. As soon as I said it, as soon as I called them out, they was like, "Oh, it's me." Oh man, yeah, we got a couple callers, man. Some people want to say what's up to you. Is that cool with you? You got anything else you want to say?
I'm
good.
You good? I'm good, baby. I'm good.
All right, let's do this. 252 area code 9442. Area code 252-9442. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace. Calling from Carolina. Man, I want to say appreciate the call. I got jumped in on late. Appreciate what you guys do, but I do got a question for the guest. Is that how does it apply if you are already? You might have already answered this. I haven't heard it, but if you already had the passport and you wanted to correct it,
you have a right of rescission. The contract. You can correct the record through affidavit and then resubmit.
Oh, okay. So send that one back too, and be like, look, take this back. Boom, boom, boom.
I would take, because that's money. I wouldn't send it back. I would just keep it. Send them that proper affidavit with a new application. They're just gonna ask you on the application if you've done it before. Yeah, here go the number. Well, on this one here, that's where you're gonna get your pushback. You use your social with that one. But again, we talk about a right of rescission.
Okay. All right. And there was one more other question I had asked you. Oh man, damn, I forgot it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to know, how to straighten that out if you had already done it. Oh, and you said something about man, I should have wrote it down. I'm good. Y'all go ahead, man. You answered one of my questions, so that's good.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, thanks.
Peace. All right, next one. Yeah, y'all write your questions down, man. Because, I mean, especially when people be on fire, like my man was on fire. People be on fire, you think of something, and then he'll say something else, and you forgot even what he said before. Like, oh, man, I should have wrote. Yep, write it down, man. Write it down. 484. Hold on, wait. Let me make sure I'm being fair. I'm going to be fair. 484, I'm going to come back to you. 916-6463. Area code 916-6463. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from? Nine 6463. Press 1 if you want to get into the queue. 916. Hit your mute button. I don't hear nothing. 6463. Going once. That's it. Gone. Went once. Next caller. Make sure I get these out. Stop that. 916. That was 252. Next caller. Here we go. 484-3870. 484-3870. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Joseph calling from Philly. I was calling to. Good. Thank you for getting back to me by email. I'm gonna try to schedule a consultation with you tomorrow. But I had a question in regards for the passport. I thought Yusuf said in a previous video that one of the, I guess you could say, advantages of having the Social Security is on the U.S. passport is because when you submit that, they are now updating your status at the Social Security Administration as well to reflect a non-citizen status. Is that inaccurate or?
Well, I wouldn't say it's inaccurate because I'm not familiar with what video you're speaking about exactly, but when you receive the passport, it looks like the same passport that you would get with the SSN. It's the same passport.
Right.
I've looked at it, examined it, even called up there and to the State Department to check on it because I wanted to see what the endorsement was about on the book and the card and to see if I'm a non-citizen national. And they wanted to get the social, last 4 digits to the social. And I would not give that to them because if I would have given it to them, then that would have linked it back to all of my Social Security status. You see what I'm saying? So is there a non-citizen national situation? Look, at the end of the day, when I took this passport to use as identification to open a bank account, the bank literally told me that by me having a U.S. passport, I am a U.S. citizen. Thus, I needed to give them the social to open the account. Now, here's the result. The manager called me, and I said, well, have legal. But she checked with legal. I said, have legal send me that decision in writing with a wedding signature of the representative. They called me the next morning and said, we have great news. Yes, we can open the account that way. But I had already opened the account with a different financial institution without the social. So they assumed because I had a passport that I'm a U.S. citizen. And legal changed that determination because they probably looked up that, no, you get it as a U.S. citizen or a non-citizen national.
Gotcha.
So I didn't see a non-citizen national. No, they don't know anything about that. The passport just shows up and you're just not there. You don't exist. You're a ghost in the system.
Okay. And you're saying that you need to attach an affidavit with the application as well?
That's a way to do it.
I mean, you're okay, but and this is not advice, but you're saying the steps that you took is that you attached an affidavit of some sort, whether affidavit of identity or affidavit of status, nationality, with the application when you sent it in?
No, I took the expedited route, where you got to give your itinerary, you know what I'm saying, and all that. That's the route that I took. And they wouldn't give it to me right then. They hit me back with, we need more documents to verify you. And I had to send them those documents. And that's when they hit me back again with, well, from what you presented, you're a U.S. citizen. And I had to rebut that presumption. And the rebutting of that presumption, you see what I'm saying, was on legal format with a jurat and notary stamp. In conjunction with zero out your account.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you.
I'll be in touch with you. Yep. I'm putting in the PayPal link right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, peace. All right. What does it say? Nick?
Peace, man. What's happening?
Peace. What's going on, man?
Hey, I had to call in, man. I'm like, okay, he one of us. Okay. I just had to, call and give credit where credit due to this show,
Oh, man,
it was a very good show. We'll chop it up in the private. I just really had to say, we popped that shit, you know what I mean? And I appreciate it. That was felt. That was felt.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I'm. This is what I do when I wake up. This is the day that the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad in it at all times, because I understand that the only way for me to understand this information is to maintain a not to be cliche, a high frequency. You see what I'm saying? And I get excited to talk about this stuff because it's freeing, it's liberating. When you say, okay, even if you have $30,000 worth of student loan debt, there's a way.
Yeah.
But in order to recognize that way,
yeah,
there's a way.
Yeah. They say the same thing, like, by the way, man, I'm calling in like we on the regular phone, man. It's Teron here. Credit. Jump on the show talking credit, Just called in to say peace. I wasn't trying to run up a bunch of questions over this here, but I had to tell you did your thing, and it's one of those ones that is like, okay, I'm definitely go back and grab, definitely, yeah. I just appreciate it. I'm appreciative, you know what I'm saying? I understand how others feel when I get on there and pop that, and they, okay, I put it in motion. They see, like, okay, what you're talking about, So I'm one of them. I'm showing the same, respect to both of y'all, really, because this was a damn good one.
Respect. Honor, brother. Like, the more of us that actually move in this way, and as Soel talks about, the moving in trust, when you remove the concept of that nexus of the sin, you have unlimited right to contract. You see?
Exactly.
And when you move in trust, now we can start building a different type of economy. So where we're not necessarily using Federal Reserve notes, we're using substance. Not the confidence, like Janet Yellen said. Not the confidence in the dollar is what gives it its value. The people. So I don't desire, if I'm going to deal with promises, let me do it through trust. But my word is bond. And then be able to get that, and be able to get that transaction revenued. See, that's where I'm at.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, revenue, y'all. Revenue. Look it up. Look up revenue. Look it up in a financial dictionary. Look it up in a Black's Law. Look it up. Look up the word revenue. It's a legal term. My man dropped all types of jewel. Man, I got the saying over here, we be pancaking toes, man. You definitely pancaking toes.
Definitely squashed them.
Institutions are the backbone of the United States, man. That's it. They're the backbone of the United States, and if you know how to create in your official capacity trust through unlimited rights of contract and executing and performing with accord and satisfaction, you'll find yourself being the foundation of an industry of your own family.
Family is business. I've been trying to tell y'all. Family is business.
I mean, with everybody at Walmart, who own Walmart? I showed my sons that. That's all their wealth is inherited.
The Walton Family Trust, those fools, and I ain't gonna call them fools. The Walton heirs, all of them, or almost all of them, they got helipads in their yards. They be landing helicopters, getting out the helicopter, and walking into their mansion.
While the Walmart employee
is getting tore off. But there's a difference in knowledge and private education between a Walton and a Walmart employee. And that's consent. And that's free will, whether you want to admit it or not. At least in this day and time. So
I'm not going to say, hey, look.
Want a helipad in your yard? I'm saying, do you want one of your heirs to have a jet pad in their yard? Hoverboard. I don't know what they're going to have in 50 years. That's why I say when it comes to this private stuff, you got to be looking ahead. And if you're not looking ahead, you ain't getting ahead. Because it's not about you. It's about your estate. It's about your last name. It's about your bloodline. And what you build, the foundation you build right now, is going to allow your heirs to reach higher than you reached. It's like every Cadillac that come out is better than the Cadillac from the year before, and is way better than the Cadillac from 10 years before. Or at least it has more features, more gadgets, more amenities, more luxuries. I mean, you can get into classic cars and stuff like that, but these cars these days, they got cameras on the mirror. You turn the right blinker on, the screen come up, it's showing you the next lane. An 88 Cadillac sedan ain't doing that, man. So
I don't know. So L, I don't know if this is true. Okay, read a story on the internet where there's a particular individual that bought a Lamborghini with Bitcoin. Now,
I believe it.
You see what I'm saying? Now, he got the Lamborghini with Bitcoin and fixing it up, putting apparently a little bit more on it, and then it's like, oh my God. Like, if this is possible, that's the same way. Now, I got into this information when it said, when I heard someone say that on an interview, it was 3 hours long, and this is what people get lost at in this information. It's 3 hours long, bro. And I listened all the way into 2 hours and 36 minutes, and that's what a drop was. Mm-hmm. Where the guy said he was trying to get bonded. Buy a bond, submit a bond to the insurance company. The insurance company say, well, if you know how to do that, you don't need us.
Don't need us.
And this was for health insurance. This was for car insurance. Now, here go the drop. I went to Texas Transportation Code. I went to the Transportation Code in the state of Texas and found it. It's there. Blew my mind. But if you don't have official capacity and the knowledge in banking law in order to be able to submit them something that can be negotiated, I don't know what to say on that. It's in the law. So it's not about getting the passport without your SIM.
I mean, like we were talking about earlier, all the companies, Nah, I was just my bad to cut you. I'm not trying to cut you, man. You know, my fault. But I was saying like all these companies, it's a service corporation, man. The United States is a federal corporation. It's a service corporation. So one of the services is insurance. Insurance is a contract for service.
Looked up.
It's a service. It's a service. So
Gene Keating. Gene Keating
dropped
a lot of that on there.
I'm only going to provide you a service that you cannot provide yourself. Why would you need my service if you know how to do it? And that's insurance. That's a lot of these different services, man.
I mean, no, who really want to take their trash to the dump?
Nobody want. Sometimes I don't even want to answer the phone, let alone get up and even look at the trash.
You know. So it's like somebody gonna have to do that. Government realized that. They saw their way to hypothecate that service and bond it with the people. But
you ain't got to do it. You got to pay.
People never step up.
Yeah, if you don't step up, you got to pay for the service. And if you're paying for the service, then you're subject to, whatever rules. And on top of that, what you got to understand, these fools can refuse service. You can have the money, but like, I want this. They ain't like, nah. And Teron, I'm going to leave your mic open. Go ahead.
What do you say? Nah, I'm listening, bro. I'm soaking it up, man. I'm on the cloud. But
I was going to leave your mic open. I was going to go to the next caller, but I'm going to let Kris go ahead.
Cool.
No, I was just about to say that. I mean, go to the next caller, man. Let's build, man. Let's make it happen, bro.
Nah, man. What are you going to say, man? I ain't trying to hear no emails. You should let him finish. You should let him finish. What are you saying? You interrupted him, so.
Number one, the U.S. Treasury only exists in name. The IMF is the international banking arm. Puerto Rican Trust number 62. U.S. Treasury, by way of the trading with the Trading with the Enemy Act, made the Puerto Rican Trust, or the U.S. Treasury in Puerto Rico, and the Secretary of Treasury of Puerto Rico, U.S. Treasury, the custodian of the U.S. bankruptcy.
Also the alien property custodian.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry.
Alien. They talking about that lien. The unalienable rights is only reached by official capacity. And this is coming from the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act.
I got to read that. I got to read that act.
That's gangster. It's gangster. I was like, wow. Official capacity. I get it. Because guess what? You can't talk to the IRS unless you're in a official capacity. They ask you for a number, but when you get to a certain capacity, there's a different type of number that you give them. And it ain't no social. There's a form for that. I heard it said, I don't know if it was Jonah Bay. I don't want to give no name or no credit where it's not due, but I remember hearing say, and I'm sure it was him, that the difference between rich people and poor people is people that the rich people know how to fill out forms.
Bill Gates said that too.
Yeah, okay.
Bill Gates said, he was asked, a reporter asked Bill Gates, what was the most important thing, or like what was the most important thing he did, or something, what was the most important thing, a more significant thing of your life, or something like that. And we're expecting him to say, making Microsoft or something like that. And he turned around and said, when I finally read and understood the tax code.
That's heavy. You just brought him up. Because I just finished the book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, where he brings up Bill Gates, and I didn't know this aspect of his story. And it's about what you were discussing earlier about knowledge. And it's like you have to watch where you just be. Okay, a fact is not necessarily a fact. Unless you have that's why courts take it so seriously with the eyewitness. Did you see it? Did you hear it? What kind of sense can you give me to verify this account being one that happened? So when you get your knowledge, we have to be careful. And the comparative studies of philosophies of this particular discipline called being a secure party. It's not about not you getting the passport with it. It's about having a form of identification that doesn't have the nexus tied to it, so that you now have right ingress and regress, that you can travel unencumbered, that you can step up and use your secure party status, hypothecate it, leverage it through trust, and contract with each other. It's not about not paying taxes. It's not about authenticated birth certificate, get money off of it. It's not about that. Get your house in order and come out of her, my people, like you used to say. That's real talk. I grew up in the Bible Belt. I know that.
So you ain't a partaker of her plagues. What's a plague? Plague is a tax. Trying to say tax ain't a plague? Plaguing everybody. Taxes are plaguing everybody right now in the United States, man. Plagued with taxes. And everything's a tax.
And then this is a Christian nation, right? It's a Christian nation.
Well, I mean, they say that there's a separation.
Well, at least the foundation, the principles.
But look, there's a separation between church and state, right? But if you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you with your hand on the what? But you can choose what you swear, but they come out with that Bible. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of the
well, I mean, this is why I asked that. This is why I asked that, Soel. The majority of the population in this country is dwindling, but it's Christian.
True, but the framers of the Constitution were deists. Yes. That's why I make the distinction, right? When we're talking about presently, right now, I agree with you 100%. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's kind of.
Because say every president, that's what they calling on.
But
God,
yeah,
God bless America.
But Barack Obama, this is how I know. Barack Obama was sworn in and took his oath, and he used Andrew Jackson's Quran. You know what I'm saying? So, and they say, oh, he was the first African American president. Barack Obama himself said he was the first Kenyan American president. That man. That's why Trump. That's why Trump was asking for his birth certificate. No, he understands it's a colorable term. That's why. He ain't going to be subjected to being called an African American or Negro or black. Because he understands it's a colorable term.
Man. Them generic terms designating race. You have no right to identify with black and African American. Charlize Theron is an African American. What do you mean? Oops. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like we need to reevaluate and get into these words and the subject matter. Bless, I did the etymology of the word bless. That means to consecrate with blood. I've already been blessed by my mother.
Yep.
So what are they really saying when they say God bless America with the bloods of the people in the streets of the indigenous people of this land?
The streets will run red. Another thing they say.
The reason why, like you made a drop earlier about the flag, that you was describing the civil flag. That flag is the civil flag of the corporation in time of peace. We are looking at the military flag.
Yeah. And that's why
they got to be at war with something.
When their military officers or their presidents pass, they throw that thing half-mast, which, I mean, it's still active. And then when you go on their legislative tribunals, they got the gold fringe around it. And if you look in the title with regards to the flag, them people ain't even supposed to be using the flag for shirts, for shorts. I mean, you read that. People are tripping. People are really tripping.
We're talking about commercial activity. When we get to the capacity to be able to operate, you won't be yelling at a police officer about your rights, but you just handed them a driver's license.
That's double-minded man.
Can expect to receive nothing
from.
Like, we got to know the Lord means the law, and now we got to identify what law we demonstrating.
Exactly.
It's full circle. It's always full circle. Man, come on, bro. And this is why I asked about the question about the Christian nation. So let me just. This is philosophy now. We're hypothesizing a particular parallel, as above, so below. Any Christian that I've ever met, because I've grown up in it, they'll tell you that they're under grace and under the New Testament. Okay? Well, my brother turned me on to this to where I went away from the Bible and dropped it down until it was C. Freemanell, and I started getting on his knowledge. He was dropping this in an astrological, cosmological book. I saw it differently because now I can identify what was in there because they following the new covenant, but yet not realizing they don't even know who Matthew, not just outside of being a disciple, what was his income, what was his trade. He was a tax collector. Matthew, the tax collector, is what the book you start off with your new covenant with, and in the first chapter you see the all caps name Jesus be born. So if the all caps name Jesus was born in the first chapter of the tax collector, what game we playing right now, folks?
Jesus sounds like a franchise, kind of like the Matrix.
I mean, when you look up what superscription means, then you can get the banker's acceptance and see where that came from.
Ooh.
The superscription read what? And the body was under it. Thus you've been redeemed. If you know how to go and get it. That's why they called it redemption when it first started.
Yep.
Because you are redeeming yourself in an esoteric sense. Look, the United States was created during the energy zodiac-wise of Sagittarius, Benjamin Franklin. So if the United States, and you know anything about the zodiac, Sagittarius, one of their characteristics that's major is they're always in conflict. So if the United States was created during the energy of Sagittarius, now we have to look at how we operate and get into our solar path and our solar chart. See where we stand within the law and get back to the principles and the foundation of where our ancestors worked, because this is where really it all come from. I don't want to sound preachy or nothing, but it's like, man, bro, the way I see this system is if we started actually contracting with each other, you know, look, man, in my production business, film production business that I administrate, I was in contract with the U.S. Army in getting a bid to create cinematic visuals for the soldiers when it comes to training and stuff. The government is looking, people knocking it. Well, it's because you're not trying to do nothing to help change the situation. I'm not saying what I'm saying to sound self-righteous. What are we doing economically by law that our income from whatever contracts and ventures we move in trust with can be mitigated from the exposure of the United States? There's only one way to do that. And the ones that control it, use it.
Every day. Use it every day.
The birth certificate is an instrument, just like the application for the passport is an instrument.
Financial instrument issued by a bank company, usually, or a bank note company.
On bank note paper.
On bank note paper. an instrument. It's an instrumentality. Specific
Dude shared with me, so L, why the color of what you use, does it matter if you use red, blue, whatever? I say because black at the end of the day doesn't identify if the contract was even original. That's why you want to produce the note. Number two, if the flag got colors that they use, military has a color guard. These colors are symbolic of a thing. So in capacity in which you superscript your sign of nature, your autograph, for whatever contract you're performing on, you use a particular color ink.
Usually red, purple, gold, and blue, depending on the capacity.
I love using purple.
Because, I mean, that's what it is. That's my favorite color.
When I sign as the executive of the estate with the passport, they got my sign of nature in purple.
Yes. Because why not?
So it's like,
they can't
what I
tell
choose
you
to
what
color.
your blood is. That's what I'm saying. You can't tell me what your blood is. My blood is. You cannot tell me what my blood is, and you do not have the capacity to rebut this proclamation that I'm making just by signing this in purple, baby.
People want to see change in this country. I change your economy and how you execute your contracts.
You got to change your mind first. Change the way you think about this stuff. Quit being a victim. You got to be accountable. You got to stand up. You got to sit down. You know what I'm saying? Stand up in some ways, you know, for yourself, for your rights, for what you want. Sit down and read and study. What are you spending your time doing? What are you investing your time in? And what values do you hold? And how long are you wanting or willing, quote, willing to perpetuate those values? Then you will naturally fall into those instrumentalities that effectuate what you are willing. That's as basic as I can say. My man got, y'all see why I brought him on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, we email, we talk stuff, we talk for hours. We was on the phone for a few hours the other time. And my man knows what he's talking about. He and I are very, very close to each other. We took very distinct paths. Principles are few. Processes are many. But the principles are few. When my man gets to talking, he said one way, I said another. But it's the same thing. That's what the same thing with comparative studies, comparative economic studies, comparative geopolitical studies, comparative religious studies. That doesn't matter, man. Once you start picking up the principles, do your dance. And pancake toes like my man was doing. But hey, you know, with that being said, Kris, man, I really appreciate it. Noble Kris L. I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. I'm pretty sure I almost guarantee that you're going to have to be coming back on sometime soon.
Respect.
I had a great time, man. This is good. I don't really get to talk, too much with, people who, have done their studies and have done their demonstration, more importantly. You know what I mean? So, it's been a pleasure and it's been an honor, man. And, definitely I'm sure we're going to get, emails and, I'll be contacting you. Anybody want to talk to, Brother Kris L., you just send an email to admin@welcometothefoundation.com. We'll get you set up with a consultation. If it's available, I'm going to have to check with his schedule and stuff like that. But he did offer that. He did say that he would be willing, to do consultations. He could delve deeper into the subject matter and as well as delve deeper maybe even into, specific procedures. And, everybody's procedure is different. Your results are going to vary. That's why I always say study so you can apply the principles that you've learned. Mine your mind for the jewels of your soul. Then apply those versus trying to apply someone else's process and holding the principles that they were holding when they were applying their process. So, yeah, definitely. Admin@welcometothefoundation.com. Shoot us an email. we'll get in contact with you. We'll take it from there. We'll holler at you in the private. I definitely want to thank you, Brother Kris L., for coming on as a guest, man. And, if you got anything you want to say before we wrap up, because we've been streaming, it's probably going to cut the show down. I just want to, wrap up and get up out of here.
Man, I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending, but it applies. Vacation Bible School. Study the word, study the word, study the word.
Yep, the history is in the language. The history is in the language. The etymon, connotative, annotative.
Thank you for having me, bro. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience, and I just hope that it could help someone, piece some things together for them and connect some dots so they, to help them on their journey. And it's like, do the same, man.
Yep.
But
I appreciate
your
energy. Yeah, if they just only knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And again, you some people go right back to sleep. They be like, oh, what? Go right back to sleep. Like, I'm cool. I'm gonna go watch the game.
We gonna see. We gonna see when they go to the airport and they just going to Florida and they say that's international. You gotta go your ass home. You'll see. 2020, baby.
They decline your entry. Like, what?
What you mean that's international? Okay.
I'm a U.S. citizen. I have rights. And blah, 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 blah. America. Look, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been an honor. Thank you, Kris. Well, I'll definitely have you on, sometime in the future. I want to say I appreciate all the callers, who called in. Even if you didn't, add to the, conversation. I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate everybody who's going to download this, checking it out on their iPod or, whatever they're doing, man. I appreciate y'all. I do this show for y'all. And really, it takes effort in order to get free. And it takes effort and application of knowledge in order to stay free. And hopefully, I am able to assist in the overall mission of High Frequency, which is, assist in the uplifting and the re-education, economic understanding, and so on and so forth with regards to what you're looking at, what you're dealing with every day, which is a commercial behemoth or beast or the Queen's dragon or whatever, however you want to call it. But either way, it's adversarial. And you're the resource, you're the commodity, or at least it appears. So, get your knowledge up. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com if you want more. If you want to holler at us, if you want to holler at me, it's up to you. Welcometothefoundation.com. Check out the PDF list. Sign up for the email list. Take care of yourself, enjoy yourself, and be good to yourself. Not studying, not pursuing what your heart wants is a disservice to yourself emotionally and spiritually. So you can't have it. You can't throw it in the air if you don't got it in your hands. So take care of yourself and then take care of the people around you. So be appreciative. Y'all enjoy yourself. Have a great week. And make sure you check out the next episode of The Foundation. Yusuf's been on pretty much every day, y'all. He'll be on in the morning.
Yeah.
So make sure you check out Yusuf L. The big brother, man. My man killing it. He killed it this morning. I downloaded the show. I tried to download the show. It said it's processing. I had to wait. Man, Yusuf back. High Frequency Radio, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thanks, Kris. I'll holler at you, man. I'll talk to you soon. And as always, y'all take care of yourself. Enjoy yourself. Love yourself. And I'll catch you next time here on High Frequency Radio Network. Peace to the guys.
Doing this thing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.